You're watching Morning Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. Now, Mzwanele Manyi held a press conference in Johannesburg yesterday announcing his exit from the African National Congress to join the African Transformation Movement, or ATM. And giving his reasons, Manyi said that the ANC is fatigued and that it's lost the moral compass and is effectively reversing the gains that it had made. Now, from business to government, Manyi has worn many hats before, including working as a former head of government communications and information systems, former president of the Black Management Forum, the founding president of the Decolonisation Foundation, and also taking over ANN7, the formerly Gupta-owned TV news channel, which he renamed the Afro Worldview before Multichoice decided not to renew its contract. And Mzwanele Manyi joins me now to tell us more about this move. Thanks so much for coming through.
Hi, Sakina, and good morning to your viewers.
So, without belaboring this particular point, because we want to get into the new issues, we have to move from the point of departure from the African National Congress and what you are now calling a fatigued organization. So, why?
No, look, I think the ANC must be thanked for the good work that it has done to bring us to where we are today. But right now, I think we need new blood, we need new energy. And the ANC is really tired, really, and it has to be tired. They've been at this thing for over 100 years. So indeed, it is tired. So we need young blood. You know, in this ATM, African Transformation Movement, I'm probably the oldest in the team. Everybody else is young. I was actually shocked to see the ratios with the ANC list, that despite young people being the majority in this country, but they're only 20% in the list. So it just shows that this party is not about to be rejuvenated. Young people that have got energy, want to make a contribution, are being locked out. So for us as ATM, this is a party for the young people. This is a party for the future. So we're here to take over.
So, listening to many pundits, looking at the opinions on social media platforms, there seems to be a school of thought that suggests that your departure from the ANC is actually a strategic move meant to weaken the ANC, but that will consolidate later when the faction that you were aligned with in the ANC regains power.
No, it's one view, but the real view is that ATM is here to govern. ATM is here to change a lot of things. That kind of a move would take us back to the same thing sooner or later. Here we're here to govern. We're here to decolonize the economy of this country. We're saying it cannot be that South Africa, with all its mineral wealth, is still a price taker on a whole range of things. We're the largest producers of platinum. We produce magnesium, we've got chrome, we've got all these kinds of minerals. So it cannot be that as a country we play second fiddle in the world economy. So we want to reassert the country. We want to ensure that the people of South Africa have clear ownership of this economy. This imperialistic model that we have, where Africa, South Africa in particular, is just the extraction village of the West, where they make all their projections to build cars and everything based on our raw materials, that must come to a grinding halt. So for us as ATM, we're saying we're going to make sure that this economy is dictated to by South Africans.
You know, that makes sense, because in order for you to go that route and implement those sort of policies, you would have to be a governing party.
Yeah, that's what
but how do you plan on becoming that?
That's what, ATM, in fact, I think ATM has been suffering from a media blackout of sorts. I don't know why people did. I also didn't know about them. I discovered them only this year. When I looked at their YouTubes, these people are huge. They are big. You know, right now, the only real opposition that we're facing is the African National Congress. It's the only the other people, trust me, we've long passed their thresholds. You must look at when ATM was making their launches. They have launched all 9 provinces. Each time they go to stadiums, they fill them up. It's overflowing. Each time they go to a hall, they pack it. You know, for this press briefing, I just asked people the night before that can I just get some level of support. Overnight, there was over about 100 people just to come to the press briefing. And these people are energetic. Even when they go to these stadiums, There's nobody that runs around organizing buses and what have you. They go there on their own. They are passionate people. They are committed to the cause.
But the reality is that it remains untested.
Well, it remains untested, yes, but I think the ANC is actually going to feel the shock. These are the people that are actually, if truth be told, these are traditional supporters of the African National Congress. These are people that even when they tried to speak to the ANC, I'm told that they were not even getting the audience. And the people, they just felt that they're being disrespected. So these are people that decided that in order for things to come right, they must take this thing into their own hands.
Is that your feeling as well?
I really think that the ANC is tired. It just moves too slowly on a whole range of things. I mean, for how many years we've been complaining about the triple PFA, that this draconian policy continues to undermine the development of black business. They listen, they hear, nothing happens. I mean, President Ramaphosa himself, when he was deputy president, he came to the BBC around 2016, came to the BBC and he acknowledged that triple PFA is an issue, they're dealing with it. It's 2019. Triple PFA is still reigning supreme. There is just no sense of urgency. So we are saying that we can't operate at this snail pace forever. And for us, 2018 actually was the epitome of this snail pace. It was not only snail pace. 2018 was a most disastrous year in terms of transformation. Things were actually going backwards. I mean, if you look at how black executives were hounded in the state-owned enterprises, it was actually just shocking. That it's almost like there's a position to replace all black executives with white people. Not that there's anything wrong with white people, but if we have a country that says we must respect employment equity, it cannot be that black people can be anywhere except in being CEOs. I mean, Dinel tells us that they can't find a black. I mean, when last did you hear a thing like this? Dinel saying they can't find a black CEO, and then you go to ESCOM. Got a very competent guy there, Pagamani Hadebe. But what do they do to the guy? He's a CEO, but they give him HR, customer relations, and some other things on the side. Then the real business of ESCOM, generation, transmission, distribution, gets given to a white guy who is a junior to the CEO. Expansion of ESCOM given to the white guy, a junior to the CEO. What is this? So ANC is saying to us, as black executives, that you are worthless. This is what they're saying. I mean, even at SARS, you would think that having hounded Tom Moyane out, there's quite a few guys, I can give you names, even at SARS. But even there, ANC government has not been able to find a black guy to even act while the process is still moving, even to act as an acting commissioner. So they can't find them.
Given the dire condition that the state-owned enterprises are in right now, is this a matter of race or is this a matter of turning these entities around?
Look, you see, this is the thing, because I think what has happened now, they are going from bad to worse. If maybe with what has been done, things will be better. I mean, 2017, we had actually forgotten that there's this thing called load shedding. And then they come with all these changes, and then all of a sudden we're back to load shedding. So indeed, I think they've just dropped the standards with what has happened.
And empirical evidence to back that up?
That's what I'm saying. Empirical evidence is the one that I just pointed out to you, that we're now back to load shedding. We'd forgotten about load shedding. You know, honestly, people with generators, I'm sure they just didn't even know how to start these things. But now they are back to generators and all that.
But you see, I'm interested in finding out when your Damascus moment came with regard to the ANC.
Yeah.
Because did it happen at the point where you found yourself perhaps on the periphery and out of favor with the current crop of leaders within the party? Because there was at some point it was said that you were disgruntled about not making the NEC list of the African National Congress.
Disgruntled?
So,
no.
And I'm putting this to
you.
So when did your Damascus moment come?
Okay, let me tell you first about the list. Firstly, my whole life I've been a professional. So I'm not a career politician. I'm still not a politician. I'm not in that space, really. So I've really been, from day one, I've always been a professional. I started in the geology space and all that. So I've always had my own means of survival. I've never been a beneficiary of any patronage of sorts. So let's just get that clear. So when branches make your recommendation and so on, I never even followed up. There is not one regional secretary of the ANC that can say I even lobbied and so on for this thing. But when branches make submissions and so on, it's not me lobbying, it's branches here and there and all of that, and this thing didn't go anywhere, and I did nothing to make it happen, as it were. So we can just put that aside. My Damascus moment came in 2018 when the resolutions of the ANC that we've worked so hard for were just being plainly undermined. You know, we made some very serious resolutions. We made a resolution on the land. And in fact, this resolution on the land came from a policy conference which we had in 2017. We had two options. The option one was expropriation without compensation. Option two was something else that talks to maybe equitable and stuff and compensation and what have you. Option two. When we got to conference, I'm summarizing because of time. When we got to conference, we opted for option one. Which was expropriation without compensation, opted for that. If you look at the crafting of the resolution, ANC delegates that are honest with themselves will tell you that even the crafting is a distortion of what the conference resolved. It's a serious distortion. The crafting now says that for restitution and distribution of land, all other means, all other mechanisms, including expropriation without compensation. That was not the thing. At the conference, expropriation without compensation was a key thing. But park that aside. However watered version it was, as crafted in the resolutions, okay, right, now get going with that. Now, instead of even get going even with that, then the ANC again goes on to another delaying tactic. They spend another 10 months consulting. What are you consulting about? You know, before you get to policy conference, there's discussion documents that get circulated some 3 months or so before. That gets sent not only to branches, they get put on public. So public has been aware what are the discussion. People like Friedman, all these analysts have been engaging with these documents. So you would think that when we got to the conference, when we finalized the policies in 2017 June, South Africa as a whole was consulted. December, we agree on the point. Now, when you must implement, then you waste 10 months to say, I'm consulting again. Now, just final point. Having consulted then again, then you come to the same conclusion that, okay, still amend Section 25. Then, okay, then we think now, okay, finally, we'll now just amend the Section 25. Now, instead of now drafting a bill to amend Section 25, we go on holiday. During the holiday, they sneak in an expropriation bill which seeks to legislate, which seeks to create a law which is going to entrench Section 25, which unamended. And yet we have a process to amend Section 25. So basically, we have a system now that is going to undermine the very same resolution of amending Section 25.
So your Damascus moment hinged on the way in which the ANC dealt with the land question?
That's one thing. The land question, they also abandoned the resolution of the ANC to nationalize the Reserve Bank. We hear NEC members of the ANC pronouncing as if the conference was mad when they made that resolution. And the issue of the State Bank, it's no progress on this matter. Then I'm saying to myself, but this, I've grown up. I'm one of the people that would reprimand people for being disorderly in the ANC, to say, argue and fight things from within. Now, if within, including the National Conference, has spoken, but the leadership of the ANC does not respect even the resolutions of the conference, what kind of organization is this? There's no integrity in this.
Tell you what. Hopefully we'll get the ANC in and we'll put that to them.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some of the comments from some of our viewers. Mulifi says, excuse me, how can we support Mr. Manyi's party while we know that you support corruption, radical economic transformation that only benefits foreign Indian family? Yeah,
well, this is a normal Stratcom kind of a thing. I challenge anybody in South Africa to give me one example how I aided corruption. I went to the Zondo Commission, and I think even if I've got to say so myself, I acquitted myself quite well in that Zondo Commission. I'm still the only person in that commission that produced credible evidence. The rest of the other people there, they went there to just recite poetry and everything. They never put anything on the table to back up anything they've said. So this is just a stigmatizing thing which has got no, and in fact, the whole thing of associating RET with corruption is another strategy to delay the transformation of this country. It cannot be that when we want to transform the economy of this country, then it's looting. It's an imperialist approach to ensure that black people must cower, they must be defeated, and they must feel ashamed for what is due to them.
All right, this one from Lesibana, who says ATM means automatic teller machine, and everyone knows what it symbolizes. They realized that they won't have a chance to loot under the current leadership of the ANC and decided to form a SPAZA, continue to roar ANC.
Yeah, no, I think if you were to look at the development of this organization, in fact, it was meant to be ATC, and it's purely because when they said ATC, IEC advised them that there are just too many congresses going to create confusion, and it was changed from ATC to ATM purely because of that. Otherwise it would have been ATC. So I think this is just a frivolous point.
Charles says Manyi is fighting for survival. He's greedy, wants 40,000 votes to go to parliament, but he won't make it. Gupta Mania, no vote.
Yeah, no, you can see this almost like people that have been set up. You know, Sakina, there are many people that suffer from Gupta phobia. I don't suffer from Gupta phobia. You can throw in as much Gupta as you want. I don't have a problem. One of the key things that people must realize is that of all the Gupta interactions, mine was the most above board. I mean, I bought the business from the Guptas. I had ANC, which was owned by the Guptas. So there is nothing clandestine about this matter. So come with evidence to say Manyi did this thing that is irregular. You will not find. So I don't have an issue with having been associated with the Guptas and so on. I really don't, because there was nothing that was irregular about that interaction.
So do you regret any of your association with the Gupta family?
No, not at all. Because I mean, if we look now, despite the narrative about the Guptas, despite all of this thing about the Guptas, NPA, not once, more than once, they have failed in court to make their case. They failed twice in Bloemfontein. Where we are sitting now, the NPA has even withdrawn charges because of lack of evidence. So this Gupta thing is really hype. If anybody, I really call upon South Africans that have got evidence to really assist us here. Take the evidence to the police, let the Guptas get arrested.
You also invoked Stratcom.
Yeah.
Stratcom in 2019?
This 2018, Stratcom was very busy. I think Stratcom is busy even now. It's going to be busier even now.
Who is Stratcom?
Stratcom is a very elaborate, communication strategy of. It started. I mean, even Comrade Winnie Mandela spoke about it. It's a communication thing that is meant to demonize all those that seek to bring about transformation. So people like myself will be targets of Stratcom because we are going against the tide. So therefore, the duty is to make sure that we are just stigmatized and everything. I mean,
by whom? By people on Twitter? Who?
There's a big force at the back. The imperialist forces behind. They are there to make sure that this economy must never go to the black people. So all of us black people that are driving transformation have to be vilified at all costs. I mean, everybody that they can't, no one ever argues with me on substance. They're just going to throw Gupta. I'm saying to people, if you want to argue with me on substance. You throw a Gupta, even if you throw a Gupta, say to me, here is a transaction that was irregular. But if you cannot say that, just shut up.
So to run an election, one needs money.
Yeah.
It's one of the most fundamental resources that you will need.
Yeah.
So as far as money goes, where does ATM derive its funding from?
And this is the beauty of it. ATM has got a policy position not to get external funding. Its own members make contributions. And this is what has happened. You know, at one point they said everybody contribute 500, various leaders and so on. And they made these contributions. Believe it or not, in one weekend, at one point, they managed to raise 750,000.
So how many members does ATM have?
I don't know how many members, but I think they're in the millions. telling you. ATM is here to govern. They are so huge. I think ATM is a tsunami waiting to sweep the country.
Mr. Manyi, just a final one, the Decolonisation Foundation, the ATM, juxtaposing those two, what is your message that you are hoping to woo the voters over with?
The ATM is a party that is going to be generally led by young people. It's a party where energy is. It's a party that also wants to bring about capital punishment. We are saying it cannot be, and we know that the Constitution does not allow it, but we'll change the Constitution. It cannot be that the rights of the killers are respected more than the rights of those that are being killed. Innocent people get killed every day. It cannot be that we have a situation like this. We have to bring this to a stop.
So you want to bring back the death penalty?
We want to bring back the capital punishment, yes, because we want to respect the rights of people. South Africa is a haven for thugs. People kill other people elsewhere, and they run to South Africa for safety. We can't be sitting here and be a country of killers. Cannot be. So we have to, Botswana is a very peaceful country because they've got capital punishment. Even America has got capital punishment, do it by injection. They've got capital punishment. Here, we're sitting here with all the thugs in this country. Our people, women and children, are unsafe in this country because thugs are protected. People will tell you no, right to life. What about the lives of the innocent people? So I want to bring that back.
That was Mzwanele Manyi on his decision to leave the ANC and join the African Transformation Movement. And as you heard there, amongst other things, it's about decolonization and policies formulated around that, and also bringing back capital punishment. And that's where we're going to leave it for now. Up next, it's the news.